Hmm.
Hello, everyone. We'll give a couple of minutes to have people log on, and then we'll get started in a few.
I guess we can have some small talk while we're waiting to get started. I sure have been enjoying the weather. I'm glad it got cooler. Man, it was getting hot for a while there.
Yeah, the university in its wisdom turns the heat on November 1st, but it takes them about 3 weeks to get to our buildings. So they were running heat in some buildings that didn't really need it. So
Sorry, I muted myself because they're beginning our fall leaf collection already out in the street.
Oh no.
So big vacuum cleaner.
We had
It
our
is
peak
nice.
season like 2 weeks ago in Eastern Kentucky.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
Yeah, I'm here in Raleigh, North Carolina today.
yeah, I used to live in Greensboro, North Carolina.
Cool.
Two of my sons went to NC State. So,
Well, it's a really good school. Were they engineering students?
yep, one was civil engineering and the other one was electrical and computer engineering. So,
Great. Well, I'm an alumni of NC State and mechanical engineering.
very good.
Yeah.
I know a lot of faculty from the civil department there over the
Gotcha.
years.
Gotcha.
Dr. Zia, he's retired now. I used to know, and Kowalski, and a guy by the name of Schultz, who actually went to University of Minnesota after a while. So,
Okay. Morton Barlaz. I think he's the dean right now, but
yeah, I used to teach at North Carolina A&T State University for 20 years.
Oh, okay.
I was there. I was chair of three programs: architectural engineering, civil engineering, and agricultural engineering. So,
That's a lot of hats, and they're all important to
Yeah.
oh yeah,
a
it was
state like
fun.
ours.
Okay, we will give one more minute and then we'll get started. If people are like me, they started working at 9:57 and thought to themselves, "Oh, I have 3 more minutes," and then they look up and they're like, "Oh, it's 10:05." I do that too often, so we'll give one more minute and then we'll get started.
Sounds good. And I sure feel like Christmas decorations are going up early this year.
We had people the day after Halloween putting Christmas decorations, skipped Thanksgiving completely.
That's
I
me.
love it. I would start
Yeah.
it 6 months early if I could.
Yeah.
Well, I already bought all the Christmas cookies, in the store before they run out.
Oh yeah, yeah.
The good
you'll have
ones
to
get
buy them
gone.
again, right? See, in our household, buying them early is a bad thing.
Okay, well, we will kick things off. I'm sure people will join as we get going, but I am going to excuse myself from the camera. I'm home with a newborn baby, so everybody will be happy I don't have my camera on today. Thank you, thank you. But my name is Nora. I am the communications manager with the Metals Innovation Initiative, and we're going to kick things off. If you were able to attend our conference gosh, I guess it was 2 weeks ago now. Kind of feels like yesterday. Thank you. It was wonderful. We had great feedback. We'll be sending out a survey very soon, but we are excited to keep the collaboration amongst the three organizations going, and hoping to have more stuff together. So, we'll get started with our webinar. Welcome to Cleaner and Better, helping Kentucky manufacturers reduce energy use and increase clean energy. As energy costs continue to rise, manufacturers across Kentucky are under increased pressure to adopt energy efficient practices and consider clean energy solutions to stay competitive. Today, we're here to offer guidance and resources just to help you navigate this transition. Whether you're small or larger, we have both that are registered for this webinar. And so we'll go over the agenda quickly. It features experts that guide us through assessing current energy usage, exploring clean on-site energy options, as well as securing funding for your projects. So kicking us off will be Dr. McGinley from the University of Louisville's Industrial Assessment Center on assessing plant energy consumption. And then he will also lead a quick Q&A after his session. And then Isaac from the Southeast On-Site Energy Technical Assistant Partnership will lead us through evaluating clean energy options. And he will also have a quick Q&A after his. And then we will wrap up with Ruthie Codwell, MI2's grants and funding consultant, on securing funding for our energy initiatives. So we will get started with Dr. McGinley. Feel free to kick things off for us, and say a little bit about yourself as you're getting your slides pulled up.
All right. Well, I am actually a civil engineering professor and endowed chair here in the civil engineering, but have been playing around in the built environment for over 38 years, working on codes, energy, structural performance, resilience, etc., in the built environment. And I've been running the Industrial Assessment Center here for the last 3 years. We're starting into our next year, hopefully in January, and we'll be looking at doing another 20 industrial customers or clients for this particular center and its focus. So what I'd like to do today is talk briefly. Hopefully everyone can see these slides. Is that coming up okay?
Yeah.
Looks great.
All right. Okay, great. So what I'm going to do is talk a little bit about what the IAC does and how it interfaces with some of the other centers that we have at our university. What we have here at the University of Louisville, we're one of the 36 industrial assessment centers that have been funded in the United States. This is a program that's been going for over 42 years, and they have a mandate of focusing on two specific aspects. One is to help small and medium-sized entities, as they term them, that's smaller manufacturers, to become more energy efficient, lower their carbon footprint, reduce waste, etc. The other focus area is to go in and train engineering students in these energy efficiency measures and how to assess different industries and to train up the workforce to capitalize on these opportunities, and so that we have a cadre of engineers that can be supportive and go out into industry and to support their continuing efforts in becoming more energy efficient. Our particular center, in addition, has a couple of industrial centers or energy centers and industrial centers here. And we have an additional focus in that we're trying to identify technology needs so that we can do development and also to port that into the industry, again, with the end goal of making American industry more efficient and more effective. Part of our goal every year is to go out there. In the 5-year project, we have 20 small and medium-sized entities that we have to address. Our goal in the 5 years is to hit at least 100. We also have student training goals where we want to have approximately 10 students per year engaged in this effort. We are addressing a number of different basic skill sets in here that go from basic energy assessments, the basic tools, how do you go about the process, how do you go through and estimate energy savings, carbon footprint reduction. We also give them soft skills on how to work in teams, how to interact with different clients, and we get a wide variety of different clients as we go through here. In addition, we look at utility. How do utility rates go? What are the basic power factors? What are the different carbon footprints of the different types of fleets of energy, particularly grid-supported energy that are out there, so we can go through there. We look at water and wastewater management, try to mitigate that for clients if necessary. In addition, we teach them some basic tools on cybersecurity. Some of our clients are concerned about cybersecurity, so we go through that as well. And as I said, carbon footprint analysis is routinely done. We also look at basic solar PV watt analysis, looking at what kind of electrical power you can generate in our region and how much will that cost. We look at motor efficiency, flue gas recovery, a variety of different energy efficiency measures. In addition, we have an increment that we have gotten for the last couple of years where we look at commercial building, government building, and utility buildings as well. So we're doing ASHRAE level 2 assessments on those buildings, working in and doing energy analysis as well, using some very sophisticated holistic building analysis for that and incorporating some interesting energy efficiency measures, and I'll talk about that briefly. One of those is geothermal cooling. I'll talk briefly about that as we go through. For eligibility, we're looking at, for our industrial clients, we're looking at a U.S. Manufacturer within about 150 miles. It's a little bit flexible, a couple of miles here or there. Within our center, which is in Louisville, Kentucky. We need to have energy spends from $100K to $3.5 million per year. And if you fall within that, we can come and help you out for free. You have to have less than 500 employees on the site and annual sales associated with that site less than 250 million. We also are required, you can have a facility manager, but no dedicated energy manager on site. It can be part of their duties, but it cannot be their sole responsibility. We also can do wastewater facilities. We have one set up here. They have to get up high enough to hit, in addition, these million gallon per day limits from 3 to 10. And then we can do commercial or institutional buildings. 100,000 square foot approximately is our limit on each individual building. Yearly energy spends are only about 50K. So we just have to get up above that threshold. And we've had a few clients in that. Most of them have been City of Louisville and our local school systems that we are being addressed right now, but we're welcome to get out into any other basic building analysis as well. What we do is we take the students out, we analyze a bunch of information from the clients that go out there, then we go out to the facilities, take a look at the individual energy using elements that are within the building. And you can imagine we've gotten a wide range in our area, anywhere from the food services area to automotive, to high-end electronics. We've had a variety of different clients throughout. We take the students out, they take a look at those elements, they evaluate how much energy they're using. We deploy sensors on some of them larger elements, energy using elements there. And then we look at a variety of alternative things that the client can do. And we do some very quick, very simple analyses to project what are the savings that we could potentially get by doing a change out. Roughly how much will that cost, so that we can do simple payback analyses as part of a report. And in our first year of operation, 2022, we did 17 clients. We got approximately about 30,000 MMBTUs in savings on average, over an average of about $100,000 per year savings for each of our clients there. Some clients were a lot more, some clients were a lot less. And going through that, we also, if you can look at the summary in here, we were looking at a total energy reduction of 229,000, roughly almost 230,000 MMBTUs per year. That relates to about 27,000 tons of CO2 per year. If they're all implemented, the cost savings would be about 3.3 million. And we were looking at 22% reduction if all of our recommendations were engaged by the clients, with an average payback of 7.1 years. Fairly long, but that also includes, in almost every client's case, PV panels, which have a little bit longer payback. Similarly, we got interestingly enough, the total cost savings went down a little bit, but the percentage of savings went up to 25% in 2023. And we had a significantly lower payback in that second year of operation. We've already done 18 clients in this year. We've gotten similar savings on that one there, and so we're rolling along. We're looking for clients starting in the new year, and so we would highly encourage you to come along. Some of the things that we do routinely is looking at PV analysis, looking at how much PV can we put on in here in the client's area. Most of it's on the roof. For a number of reasons why this is attractive for industrial clients. One is the fact that the demand charges are extremely high for a lot of our clients in here. PV is a good way to shift the demand costs in there with local production of electricity. It also, a lot of our clients have very, very aggressive decarbonization goals. And with our relatively dirty grid in our area, it's a good way to reduce the carbon footprint of the product as you move forward. All right, we routinely do layouts on the roof. We look at how much PV can we put in the roof. We've done and this is a particular client which I'm not allowed to identify, but this is a typical panel layout here. In this one, we were looking at an investment of about $850,000 for that. They were roughly about 22% of their power that they can produce or locally with these amount of panels. And because of the unique rate structure that they were in, and with some local incentives from their power company, they were able to get their payback down to 4.4 years. They're still got pending. They've got to get, they haven't gotten okayed from corporate on this one yet. The other area that we do a fair bit of, in almost any of our clients that have a very high cooling demand, and a lot of them do in the process, we have been, we have a expert in our university in groundwater cooling and geothermal cooling. And there is a very good resource in our area in the aquifer here. And so we are looking at groundwater cooling in here because you've got 57-degree water down there. There's a fair amount of it, not too far below the surface, a nice 6-inch well. If you go and drill that down, you bring the water up through a heat exchanger and then dump it back down into the aquifer. You're not consuming that water, you're simply raising its temperature. The thermal mass of the strata that is the aquifer is in is so high that the impact of that delta T in that environment is very, very small. Plus, if you know the flow, the direction of the flow of the aquifer, that basically gets carried away and the aquifer area replenishes quite quickly. We are able to reduce even where they can't meet all of their cooling demands with that 57-degree water. We then put that in tandem with a chiller system, but they're significantly downsized. We can get about a 70% reduction or greater, depending on the demand for the overall electrical energy when it's compared against other types of conventional chillers or HVAC. So it is a significant potential decarbonization, particularly with these high cooling demands in there. And it's been used successfully out in Phoenix. EPA has published a fair number of studies out there, and I'm happy to note one of our clients will be drilling shafts starting in January and hopes to have one of these systems running locally here. And we will be instrumenting it and getting actual local information on that as we move forward. So this groundwater cooling can be quite significant. A simple 6-inch well tandem with thing went out, another well where we can dump the water back down in here. You need the tandem one in there with the 2 wells, 1 source and the 1 sink. That gives you about 100 tons of cooling from that water. So it doesn't take a lot. This particular one client in here had a payback in here about 4.4 years. $8,200 was the annual savings on that compared to the chiller system there. This one is also pending, but the other one that we were looking at, they were looking at replacing their conventional system for cooling, and we were able to beat that at half the actual capital cost and saving at about $10,000 a year for cooling. So it can be quite attractive depending on the client and which way they're going. And so we like to advocate that every time we can. Last little item I want to talk about here briefly is our partner in here, which is the Conn Center for Renewable Energy Resource. This is our research R&D arm that we bring in. We have a number of faculty, 37 associated faculty. We also have them working with our MEP, which is our manufacturing extension program, a NIST-funded center. And so what we try to do is look at the technology need, find out how we're moving along in those areas, where's the demand, and see if we can help develop new technology to help the various industries. We have, as I said, quite a number of areas. We have 7 theme areas in here. I happen to be one of the theme leaders in energy efficiency, but we have advanced energy materials, we have bio, we have solar manufacturing, we have biomass, as I said, batteries, energy storage, etc. We have a variety of different staff and researchers working in this area, developing new technologies and bringing them into the industries. One of the areas that we've been playing around with, we got a large grant from the SESME group, which is the Smart Manufacturing Group funded by the DOE, where we were looking at digital twin and applications to high energy applications. Our partner in this was Argos, and we were able to go in and develop a new way to monitor and operate these cement kilns, which have a very, very high energy input, large carbon footprint, in a very, very high volume material used throughout the world. And we've been able to show an actual application down at one of Argos's plants about a 15% reduction. We just finished off our second round of funding in this area, and that particular technology will be available next year off of the SESME platform, which is a smart manufacturing platform that is set up by the DOE to facilitate application of new technology into industry. And so I would highly recommend you take a look at that as you move forward. One of the things I failed to talk about briefly, but my colleague here who's coming up next will be that as well. If you get an industrial assessment done, and if you have meet the criteria, which is you have to meet the criteria for the energy spend, people, etc., that I went through earlier, and if your annual sales corporately are less than $100 million, you can get up to $300,000 of cost matching to implement energy efficiency measures on your site, and they evaluate that quarterly. January is the next quarterly, but every quarter, all you have to do is have an assessment done either by an IAC or by an approved group by the DOE, and you can then apply for these grants. Okay, well, I think that's it. We have a variety of other things we're working at the university with industry as well on that through the Con Center and the MEP, looking at processes and improving them, improving the energy efficiency, particularly in application of machine learning, and also sensor technology, and that's all through the auspices of the Con Center. We do have a smart manufacturing workshop this Friday. You can still sign up for that if you would like. I know that went out, and I just encourage people to come in. It's free. It's been sponsored by the DOE, the Industrial Center, as well as the Manufacturing Extension Partnership at the university and with SESME. And so they'll be coming in and talking about how to implement smart manufacturing technologies and how do you train your workforce to support. That's all I had here, and I want to thank you for the time.
Thank you, Dr. McGinley. We'll open it up just for a couple minutes for a Q&A. We did have a question dropped into the chat. It looks like James had sent through. Is there any demonstrated correlation between size of the client and the percentage of savings or payback duration?
Interesting question. It's more to do with the age. What are the age of the processes that are being used? What are they working in? Okay, some of the clients that we've dealt with have been, the machines they're using are older than I am, and I'm 66 years old. So That is more important in the application, and the process itself, depending on how much heating they're doing and actual energy they're using in there. Some people have got these very large 300 horsepower AC motors that they're using that were, let's call them very old technology, and they've been rewound once in their lifetime, and they were put in the 30s, and they're still using them. So that's got more to do than the size itself. We had clients that have already implemented a whole bunch of different measures, and it was very difficult to find the 3 measures we're mandated to do. And, they just had to tweak a few things here and there. So.
Okay, and as we transition to Isaac, he dropped in a question too. For the 200-ton ground cooling application, could you please clarify if the ground loop is on the condenser side or evaporator side of the chiller, or both?
Well, the one that we're looking at designing in there, it will be, it's direct air. So there's a heat exchanger. You bring the cooling air directly into it. For the water chilling, we just have a heat exchanger and a separate loop that we're running the water through to pre-chill the water. And so there is, only when we're augmenting it, we'll put in line, in addition to that, if we have to, what they call temper the chill water, you will put another heat exchanger in the line that will then be the evaporator coil for your chillers that are working on that particular loop. So.
Great. Well, thanks for indulging my
Thank you.
question.
Not
I
a
think it
problem.
goes to show how important it is, to go to the site, look at what's going on, and come up with a solution that fits, to find the savings that are possible.
Yep.
Great.
All right, thank you, Dr. McGinley, and we will transition over to Isaac for him to begin as well. Isaac, go ahead, get your slides pulled up, and if you want to give a little spiel about yourself, feel free.
Okay, great. Hi, everyone. Pleased to be here. My name is Isaac Panzarella, and I'm an associate director here at the North Carolina Clean Energy Technology Center. But today I'm representing the Department of Energy's On-Site Energy Technical Assistance Partnerships Project. I'm a mechanical engineer by background, and I've done a lot of work in consulting, particularly in the area of sustainability and clean energy. So I'm going to talk to you today about ways that Kentucky manufacturers can look at on-site clean energy. And when we talk about on-site clean energy, primarily, it's important to remember that, what Dr. McGinley was talking about is kind of a first stage in looking at improving your energy performance and reducing your costs, looking at energy efficiency of lighting, pumps, motors, chillers, boilers, etc. That reduces your consumption. And then when we're talking about on-site energy, we're talking about actually generating energy on-site using a variety of different technologies, including battery storage, solar PV, could be combined heat and power. These could use a variety of fuels, natural gas or biogas. And not only are we generating energy on site with these technologies, we're also at sometimes capturing it and storing it to make it most useful for the processes that you have on your particular site. We do a variety of different things through the On-Site Energy TAP program. The main thing that we're doing is providing technical assistance to specific sites. We also participate in a lot of engagements across our regions. There's 10 regions. I manage the Southeast region for DOE, which covers 8 states, including Kentucky, Puerto Rico, and the Virgin Islands. So I said that first stage is energy efficiency, second stage is on-site energy. I should mention the third stage is to look at procuring clean energy from utilities. Utilities are in different states doing a good job of looking at ways to reduce the emissions or environmental impact of their generation. So here's some of the things that the on-site energy taps can provide across project development phases of clean energy. Will help at the first stage to do identification of projects. And we'll do that by starting out looking at your site's energy consumption, what the patterns are. We'll use hourly data if possible and look at the processes and really analyze, what types of on-site generation can really help meet the needs, whether they be electric energy or thermal energy or some other form of energy for your processes. At the first stage, we'll identify a few different technologies and come up with, initial budget and payback for those technologies. Then we'll also be able to help us, if any of those look favorable, to support design and development. If you would probably want to hire a consultant or a contractor to help design and develop the project, but we can help as a third party to advise, look at costs and different things like that. We'll also help facilitate conversations with the utility about some of these technologies, because sometimes they'll involve things like interconnection or different tariffs that may apply because you're doing on-site energy. So getting started to work with us here, you just need to reach out and we'll have an initial meeting. We'll discuss your site's characteristics, goals, and objectives. As I was saying, we'll collect data on your energy consumption and different processes. We try to do a really, really detailed analysis using hourly data if possible to make sure that it's an accurate analysis. Once we conduct the analysis, we'll review that with you. Maybe sometimes we'll look at an advanced analysis if one specific technology is more appropriate, or if we come up together with a solution that is not as straightforward. And here's what one of the analyses results might look like for a site. You see here in this example result summary, we actually analyzed 3 different technologies: solar PV, wind energy, and combined heat and power. And the tools and the analysis we do really kind of select these technologies based on, them having a positive return on investment over their life cycle. We'll look at the impact of each of these technologies on the electric cost or fuel cost. We'll include operation and maintenance costs, and then come up with a net operating savings based on those inputs. In terms of the capital cost, we have budgetary, estimates that we've developed, and then we'll include any applicable incentives or rebates, such as the federal investment tax credit for clean energy or the implementation grant that Dr. McGinley mentioned. You'll receive a simple payback estimate, and then we'll also look at the CO2 emissions impact of the technologies on your site. That's becoming certainly an important parameter besides cost. Emissions reduction does have a value with it associated. Just to give you an idea of what some of this might look like, here's a couple project snapshots. This one is for BMW Manufacturing in Greenville, South Carolina. Here they have a variety of on-site energy technologies, including solar PV. They have a small 96 kW array there. And then they have a large combined heat and power system, which is 13 megawatts in capacity. Now, this is a very huge site, so there certainly doesn't serve their whole site, but it does provide a significant amount of energy. This combined heat and power system is fueled by landfill gas that comes from a landfill that's almost 10 miles away. That's probably the practical limit of what you might pipe landfill. Then this system generates electricity, 13 megawatts, and it also generates steam, which is used primarily to provide heating for paint booths to make sure that the vehicles get a nice finish on them. Then also internal to their plant, they use hydrogen fuel cell fork trucks and other vehicles to move things around. A nice thing about hydrogen fuel cells is that they're quick to refuel. They don't require, long downtime to charge them, and they have no emissions within the site as you would with a, propane powered fork truck. They see from the CHP system about 92,000 metric tons of CO2 reduction per year annually, per year. And they actually have had this project for a few years now. Initially, they put it in 2003, and they expanded it in 2009. And it's really a big part of their corporate strategy to be more sustainable. Another project, a little newer, was commissioned last year, is United Therapeutics Pharmaceutical Manufacturing. That's located here in North Carolina. They have 434 kilowatts AC of solar PV, 1.5 megawatts of battery storage. And then they have a geothermal heating and cooling system. This facility, what it's used for is to manufacture and store and provide distribution of a inhaler product. And their goal was to do this without the use of fossil fuels on site, and then also to make sure that they had resilient power. That's the third benefit of doing on-site energy. With this facility, if in case the grid goes down, they want to make sure that they're able to maintain power so that they can store their product safely without any loss, and then also run certain pieces of production. Imagine if you lost production due to power outage or lost product due to power outage, that's a cost that you don't want to incur. And so they were able to do that with this combination of technologies without any backup diesel, backup propane, or natural gas generation. So it's quite an achievement at this facility here. And really, to us, it represents a forward-looking approach. Dr. McGinley mentioned these IAC implementation grants. The important note is that, they are for small and medium manufacturing firms, so they don't apply to most entities, but it is a fairly straightforward process to apply for these, and we can provide you the tools that you need to submit this application. It shouldn't take more than a couple hours if you decide to go this route. And having a recommendation from IAC or from a on-site energy tap such as ourselves is qualifies you, or at least supports eligibility for this program. I'm just going to move on to a little bit more information here that I want to share about Kentucky. This map here shows the map of all the taps. You can get in touch with them if you have a facility in their region or in ours. But in Kentucky, an important thing about on-site energy is it is certainly impacted, sometimes positively, sometimes negatively, by policies and regulations. And so here we just have a list of different policies that exist in Kentucky or don't exist in Kentucky. Some of the important ones here include a state energy plan, where the state has expressed, a priority in supporting clean energy for a resilient economy. So there are policies there that support that. A couple others are, having net metering rules and interconnection rules do support on-site energy deployment because they provide clarity on what to expect if you're implementing these technologies. This slide here shows a little bit of detail on those different policies, which I won't go into here, but these are things that we'll consider in our analyses. Again, to make sure that we're understanding, the limitations and any costs that may be incurred by doing on-site energy. Here's just a few links for you to go and find out more information. We have a website that's hosted at the DOE Better Buildings program. We have some helpful fact sheets on the program. There's also some technology fact sheets on the web pages, and then a neat little video there. And with that, thank you, and look forward to your thoughts.
All right, thank you, Isaac. We will open it up for a few minutes of questions. If anybody has any questions for Isaac before we switch over to Ruthie.
Yeah, this is Pat McCabe. I'm with Commonwealth Rolled Products. I was a little bit confused. The criteria you showed was just the grants. Is there similar size criteria for the technical partnerships? I assume since you showed the BMW example that's not the case.
Yeah, Patrick. No, there's no real limitation as far as maximum size that's eligible for participating in our program. And, we do offer our services at no cost. So yeah, Commonwealth Rolled Products would be eligible to receive assistance from our center.
Thank you. Fantastic. Thanks.
Of course.
All right. Well, thank you, Isaac. We will get started and switch over to Ruthie to wrap things up for us today.
Great.
Great. Thank you so much. Here, let me just get this going. All right. So hi, I'm Ruthie Caldwell. I am the grants and funding consultant with MI2. And I really specialize in helping organizations who are new to grants and funding kind of navigate those complicated processes of, figuring out your project and applying for those and finding those and things. So I just wanted to give just an overview of some of the grants and funding that are available right now. I've shown this before. This is the Inflation Reduction Act, and you'll see that there's lots of money available for clean energy funding, as well as manufacturing and environmental funding. But I also don't want to avoid the elephant in the room. So last night I went through the Trump administration's official Republican Party platform. And I just wanted to mention that, MI2 is nonpartisan. And so if a different political party had won, I'd be showing their party's platform. But I think it's really important for MI2 to help share the trends and potential ways that funding could be going. So just here's some highlights that manufacturers might want to keep in mind. I took this last night from the official party platform page. And so we know that there's going to be some changes, and we know that the Inflation Reduction Act still has grants and funding in it, and that it will take an act of Congress law change to change those. So we might continue to see those coming out. We might see some changes, but there will always be funding, whether it's tax credits, whether it's technical assistance or grant, there will always be funding available. And MI2 is going to help manufacturers kind of track those trends. And so this is the most current information we have about what might be happening in the future. So from that platform page, I did see that energy production from all sources, including nuclear, will be supported. I saw that they will be slashing government spending. So there might be some changes in some of that Inflation Act, some of the grant funding that has already been announced previously. So we need to be continuing to look at that. Also, and by the way, the parts that I have in quotes are literally from the platform. So this is not MI2 saying any of this. This is just from the platform. So one of the things about the economy, it said that they will be increasing energy production across the board. One thing that I noticed at the Kentucky Industry Conference was that a lot of manufacturers were saying it takes a long time for permitting for on-site energy. And so one thing that's mentioned here is there will be streamlining of permitting for energy. They will also be ending restrictions on oil, natural gas, and coal. So those might also be options. Another thing that they talked about is having tariffs on foreign-made goods, and that they will be canceling electric vehicle mandates and preventing the importation of Chinese vehicles. So I want to let people, be aware of that. Also, their platform talks about becoming the manufacturing superpower. So there will most likely be some sort of tax credits or funding in the future for manufacturers to help onshore more manufacturing. Also, another priority was to for the industrial base to prioritize defense critical industries. So if your organization manufactures any equipment or parts that could be used for defense, they are going to want those to be made in the USA. And so that's something to be looking out for as well. So there's going to be changes. So how do you prepare for changes? I just wanted to let people know, like, the best way to prepare for changes is just plan. If you can develop the concepts for projects and you can make sure that no matter what, it makes good business sense for your company, then whenever there are opportunities in the future, whether it's for clean energy or just on-site energy or anything to help your manufacturing company, then you will be ready to get those opportunities. So get those plans. And so I love what On-Site TAP is doing and what the ITAC is doing with both Mark and Isaac, because if you can get those plans in place early, then whenever opportunities come out later, then you'll be able to have those plans to apply for those grants and funding opportunities immediately. So I highly encourage you, if you qualify to work with these folks, invite them out and try to get an assessment done so that you're ready to apply for grants and funding as soon as it's available. Also, when you're seeking funding opportunities, MI2 is here to help. We help all of our members, so you can, of course, look at the website. There's a grants page, and we have a way that you can look at grants there. We also, in our social media, we announce different grants and funding opportunities. We have a newsletter that tracks grants and funding coming out in the next 3 months. And you can also sign up for one-on-one consulting meetings with me. I'd love to learn more about your company and help you to look for grants and funding. So I'm just going to share a few different types of grants and funding that's going to be coming out. As you can see, this is from the MI2 website. We have over 260 funding opportunities listed there. Some of them have already passed, some of them are anticipated, but it's a good way for you to get kind of an idea of what's been funded in the past and what could be coming out. And you can also just email me to schedule a one-on-one consultation. I would love to meet with you. Usually the first meeting is just about a 1-hour virtual meeting. We just discuss your projects and needs, and then I develop a prospect list of lots of different funding and tax credits and different opportunities that help meet your project needs. And then we'll have a second meeting where we kind of walk through those and discuss some next steps that you could take. I also wanted to share some different grants and funding search tools. So if you'd like to just get started right away and look for grants on your own, you can actually click on these links once you get this webinar. And there's the EFN has Empower Innovation and Clean Tech Funding Database by CBN. These are both really good ones for just typing in a keyword and trying to find some potential funding opportunities. These have federal and state and also just like foundation grants available. So they're really good ones. Also, if you're located in an energy community or a coal community, energycommunities.gov has a lot of great tax credit information and grants as well. I just wanted to share a few grants with you guys that are coming up. There's the USDA Renewable Energy for America program. So if you have a small business in a rural area with 50,000 residents or less, then you could qualify for a grant up to $1 million, up to 50% of the cost of renewable energy systems. And this is an example of a 2-pager. You can find this on our website. It kind of breaks down some of the information about grants into basic language for manufacturers. So you can find that on the MI2 Grants website as well. And then, of course, we talked about the ITAC implementation grants up to $300,000 for each unique recommendation that you could get from ITAC or from On-Site TAP or another qualified provider. So please look into those. There's another upcoming grant. It's smaller, but if you're interested in exploring ways to start looking at selling your products internationally, the Cabinet for Economic Development has a great opportunity called the State Trade Expansion Program. I highly recommend you look into that because it can pay for things like workshops or marketing internationally, trade shows, and things like that. Also, technical assistance is great. A lot of times you don't have to pay a dime and you just get the help from consultants. So here's some examples of technical assistance that have not already been shared today. There's 50,001 Ready. We had a webinar with them a few months ago, and they can help create a cohort of lots of manufacturers who want to learn these different ways to have continuous energy improvements year after year. It's like a different way of thinking. And so that's a cohort that MI2 could even help put together. If you're interested, let us know. There's also Better Plants, which is a way to, they have lots of education on how to have your manufacturing facility become more energy efficient. And especially since we just talked about the next administration and how they're going to be looking into ways to have more manufacturing for the Department of Defense. I wanted to share Kentucky Apex. KSTC is in charge of the Kentucky Apex Accelerator, and they can help with free coaching and training and equipping about how you can apply for do bids for some of the DoD contracts or federal contracts and state and local government contracts in general. They also have a DoD mentor protege program. They can even help with like becoming HubZone certified, ways to become more competitive for contracts. So that's a great technical assistance opportunity to look into as well. And then there's lots of tax credits out there. This Energy Communities website has some really good information about like the 48C tax credit. There's advanced manufacturing production tax credit for solar, wind inverters, battery components and critical minerals, clean electricity investment tax credit, low-income communities bonus credit, which I believe can be up to an additional 20% of tax credit for clean energy. And there's also the Energy Community Tax Credit bonus, which I think can be up to 10% more. And the credit for carbon dioxide sequestration. And I wanted to mention too, the energy tax credit bonus has really expanded. If you see the old map, there really wasn't too many communities in Kentucky that were covered. Now it's most of the communities in Kentucky. That's pretty amazing how much it's expanded. So you might want to look into this if you're already applying for clean energy tax credits to see if your community qualifies for the energy community tax credit bonus of up to 10%. Also want to let you know, there's lots of low interest loan opportunities. The Department of Energy has the Energy Infrastructure Reinvestment Act. So that is an opportunity to get a low interest loan to pay for your clean energy solutions. So if you have questions, you can contact me at ruthie@visiongranted.com, and I'd love to speak with you guys.
Thank you, Ruthie. Does anybody have any questions for Ruthie?
I'm just that good.
Right? It is clear. Okay, well,
You're offering a really great resource there, Ruthie. What about how like some of these can be combined? You'll look at that for people, like the tax credit, the federal investment tax credit can be combined like with a USDA REAP grant, right?
Yeah, I kind of just spider out to find as many options as possible and then let people know how they can be used. Definitely with tax credits, you want to get a tax professional in the end, though.
Absolutely. That's what we tell people too. But we also try to give them as much information as they can. And the rules are changing all the time. You have to go on the IRS website, and that's too much for me as an engineer to do. Sorry, Nora, I interrupted. I'll let
no, you were
take over
totally
there.
fine. You are all good. All right. Well, we will close out for the day. Our webinar has been recorded, so I'll do some small editing, and I can send that to everyone that's registered. It will also live on our site under the grants and funding section. Feel free to go on there as well. We have our past webinars up if there's something that interests you. And then that is it for today. Let us know if you have any questions, and everyone enjoy their Tuesday.
Thank you. Same to you. Thanks for having
Thank
me.
you.
Yes, thanks for
Yep.
everyone. Thank you.
Thank you for the opportunity. Bye.
Thank you.